Good morning, afternoon, evening, and welcome to the June 7, 2023 special meeting of the Cumberland County Board of Commissioners. And we want to welcome everybody here. And at this time, first, the purpose of this meeting is to hear from the citizens regarding the proposed FY24 budget. And at this time, I'll call on Commissioner Faircloth to do the invocation and lead the pledge.
Bow head, please. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you once again for the opportunity to come before you and our citizens to do the business of our citizens. We hope that our decisions tonight will be in the best interest of everyone in our county. Bless us as we go our separate ways and help us to be thankful for all this given us and all the blessings of this county. In that name we ask. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Faircloth. We do have with us Commissioner Jones, as well as Commissioner Council. She is joining us via phone, so they are here with us. At this time, I will call on County Manager Greer to explain the Board of Commissioners procedures for public hearing.
Good evening, Commissioners. Tonight is the public's opportunity to provide feedback and comments related to the fiscal year 2024 recommended budget. We have, I think, currently 4 speakers to speak. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to speak until all speakers have spoken. And we ask all speakers to speak from the lectern, provide their name and their address.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, are there any speakers? We will open up the public hearing. Madam Clerk, are there any speakers?
There are 4 speakers.
Okay.
Our first speaker is Robert Pinson.
Good evening. My name is Robert Pinson. I live at 1716 Rayford Road, Fayetteville, North Carolina, 28305. I come here tonight to represent the Arts Council of Fayetteville, Cumberland County, and am presently the president of that organization. First, I want to thank all of you for the years of service that you provided to the people of Cumberland County and your support of the numerous arts and cultural programs that we have in our community. I also thank you for the many hours both you and your staff have put in to develop this county budget for FY24. Tonight I am requesting you consider supporting the Arts Council's request for $68,000 rather than the $35,000 proposed presented with the proposed budget. After reviewing the proposed county budget as it relates to the Arts Council, I want to make sure you have a clear understanding of our funding request. The narrative in the budget makes it appear that the county funds are being requested for mission and operational purposes. This is not the case. The education of our children in our county is a priority and continues to be a challenge. I can assure you that if approved, every penny of the $68,000 requested will be spent on teaching artists placed in our county schools as part of the Artists in Schools program, with an emphasis on the Arts for All strategy. This strategy provides exposure to arts and cultural activities related to curriculum standards that Title I students would not otherwise receive in our school system. Arts education teaches the creative process that contains several universal benefits. Students who participate in the arts, both in school and after-school programs, have better attendance, have a lower dropout rate, that is just 4%, which is 5 times lower than their peers. 78% of young adults who had an arts-rich experience were more likely to vote and participate in political campaigns. Participation in arts programs causes juvenile crimes to fall by 4.2% on average and slightly more than 5.4% in economically disadvantaged areas. Art helps an individual find inspiration, how to generate and feed an idea, how to problem solve, how to become a concerned and future leader in our community. Arts education showcases skills to the students in very inclusive ways, no matter what race, nationality they might belong to. The Artists in School program here in Cumberland County has a proven track record of success and is the oldest program of the Arts Council, dating back to 1977 and 1978. I know my own daughter actually remembers one of these programs when she was in elementary school, and perhaps several of you may actually have yourself or some of your children experience these programs.
Thank you, sir.
Is that 3 minutes?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Wow. Thank you.
It goes quick. Thank you. The next speaker, please.
Next speaker is Jay Tolan.
Jay Toland, 1521 Morganton Road, Fayetteville, North Carolina, 28305. I'm the Associate Superintendent for Business Operations and the CFO for Cumberland County Schools. I'm here before you on behalf of Dr. Conley and the school board because they are celebrating the last 2 graduations of the school year at the Crown Coliseum. But with that, I bring gratitude and support for the county manager's budget proposal. We believe that we can make a world of difference in the lives of the students and staff within Cumberland County Schools with the funding that is provided in his proposed budget. As a brief reminder, the funding from the county supports over 780 positions, with 54% of the funding going towards system-wide support services and the other 46% going towards instructional services. Furthermore, I'd like to add that working with Mr. Greer, Ms. Shaw, and Ms. Evans and their respective staff has been an absolute pleasure this budget season. In closing, one thing that is important to emphasize with the latest data from the Public School Forum of North Carolina is that Cumberland County is 18th in the state for local funding effort. And what that means is when looking at the county's ability to generate revenue per student with its tax base and factoring in the amount the county appropriates to the school district, Cumberland County outperforms 81 other counties in the state of North Carolina. The district would like to thank you for your support in the past and your continued support in the future.
Thank you, Mr. Tolan. The next speaker, please.
Our next speaker is Crystal Edmonds.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Crystal Edmonds.
Pull that down. There you go.
There we go. Good evening. I'm Crystal Edmonds. I live at 1617 Van Buren Avenue, Fayetteville, 28303. I'm here representing the Fayetteville NAACP. As you review the upcoming budget, the county commissioners, we ask that you increase the allotment to the County Board of Elections. According to the North Carolina Budget and Tax Office, Cumberland County spent only $7.31 per voter compared to the national average of $17 per voter. The Cumberland County Board of Elections especially needs to ensure that citizens of our county are aware of current and accurate information regarding issues such as voter ID, early voting dates and locations, absentee voting requirements, as well as clarification for individuals who have a felony record but have completed all requirements such as probation, parole, and restitution. Additional funding may be used to print and distribute voter registration literature, and this may be done in print as well as on social media platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Although the Board of Election prints in-house, personnel are needed to create and to manage the social media websites. This will allow the Board of Elections to reach various demographics and distribute accurate information. They can communicate that information in English, in Spanish, as well as in Braille. Additional funding may be used to purchase and distribute the envelope absentee voters now need to secure for the copy of their ID. This photo ID envelope is separate and new to the absentee ballot. The Board of Election Office may also need to expand hours for a period of time to accommodate individuals who are seeking the North Carolina voter ID card that is expected to be issued by our county Board of Elections. And this endeavor will take not only personnel, but equipment. The Board of Elections officers may field questions from our higher educational institutions regarding their application for student IDs to be considered. More poll workers will be needed to ensure that citizens have the correct polling location, have the appropriate ID, and are able to answer questions. Additionally, there is a need to expand the primary election and one-stop voting sites throughout the county to accommodate our voters. Citizens should not have to drive a long distance in order to vote. To combat disinformation and misinformation, we also ask that you increase the funding in a way to involve our voters, and that may be things such as streaming or recording the Board of Elections meetings, just as the county commissioners and our city council committee does as well. So this will allow, again, our citizens to see the process and for it to be transparent. So finally, I encourage you to see how these changes will impact the employees of the Board of Elections, thereby providing them with a pay increase and other incentives to election staff and poll workers. Preparation is key to the successful, smooth election cycle.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Next speaker is Lizette Rodriguez.
Hello. Excuse me.
Good evening.
Hi, Commissioners. Hope you all are well. My name is Lisette Rodriguez. I'm an organizer with Common Cause, North Carolina.
She came in late.
You have to state your address.
Oh, sorry, 4942 Legion Road, Hope Mills, North Carolina.
Okay, thank you.
I'm here to speak today in opposition of the current proposed funding for our Cumberland Board of Elections. Thanks to recent anti-voter rulings from the North Carolina Supreme Court, our Board of Elections are going to need more funding now than ever. They have less than 3 months until thousands of Cumberland residents will be required to show a photo ID when voting in municipal primaries and elections this fall. Back in 2018, when we had the last voter ID law, the estimated cost of voter ID implementation statewide was $9 million, which is at least $11 million today. That fact shows that the the County Board of Elections across our states are seriously underfunded, and they may be required to offer less voting sites in order to implement voter ID, and that includes Cumberland. In 2022, Cumberland spent only $7.31 per voter compared with a national average of $17.10. In the 2022 general election, Cumberland also had the 4th lowest voter turnout in the state at only 39.8%. And our research at Common Cause shows that the more counties are willing to spend on funding, the higher voter turnout increases. Considering the voter ID ruling happened in late April, I'm not so sure that our Board of Elections took the voter ID law into consideration when proposing its budget to the county. Perhaps some of this increase in funding could be used for our Board of Elections to live stream their meetings to the public and post their meeting minutes in a timely manner in the interest of transparency to residents. I find it very perplexing that with inflation and corporate price gouging we've all been experiencing these past few years, that it would be a smart decision to reduce funding below the roughly $2 million that was spent on the 2020 presidential primary. Shouldn't we be increasing poll worker and election staff pay in line with inflation? Because if we don't, that's a pay cut. And all the supplies, the voting machines that our county board of elections are going to need is also going to increase because of inflation and because of the price gouging. While technically the proposed increase in funding from last year for the Board of Elections, it is not in line with what the funding was in our last presidential primary. So I'm asking you to reconsider and increase our Board of Elections funding. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rodriguez. Are there any other speakers?
There are no more speakers.
At this time, we will close the public hearing, and we will recess the meeting to the 5th floor, conference room 564, for our budget workshop session.
Commissioner Jones? Your microphone is not muted.
Is mine?
Okay. Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Commissioner Council. Is red your favorite color?
How come there's only one candidate?
Yes. Okay, perfect. I'm gonna put you on speakerphone.
Obviously, but some
We will now reconvene the budget work session. And at this time, I'll ask if the board has any question or comments about the proposed fiscal year '24 budget.
Just a quick comment from me to the manager. You came in sort of at the end of this, but I will tell you, with inflation and everything that has happened with us and the amount of money that's been passing through the county, I do believe it's a solid budget. I appreciate all the work from you and your staff. I've been through a lot of these budgets, and I think it's very pragmatic, well thought out, and is going to continue to deliver services. Thank you.
Commissioner Adams.
I just got a couple of things, and I echo Commissioner Keith. I will say that, and we did have some speakers downstairs, that the board has had conversations with the manager as to the Board of Elections and some of the new things that are coming down. We're kind of waiting on some guidance on that, but we have enough in the budget to be able to cover that. And I'm not going to steal your thunder, but we actually sent an email, and you responded to that email. So we appreciate that. If you had something else you want to add on that, but
Well, we didn't cut the funding for the Board of Elections, and their budget actually increased almost 23%, and that's approximately $350,000 over the past fiscal year.
And I think the second thing is, and I heard the Arts Council, because I think we ought to kind of address, we did that with some art funding that's coming out, and that'll be before the entire board, the ARP money. So, so that takes care of that. The last thing, and I would congratulate and thank the manager, staff, finance, and everything, that we did not raise taxes this year. I think that's a testament to the financial condition of this county and our bond rating and all of that. But I got calls today from the TV station and everywhere else. So just to put this to rest, this county did not go from per capita to ad valorem taxes. We entered into an agreement with the municipalities that we would hold off for at least 2 years, that we would take whatever growth is in that period of time, and that basically is a gamble on the county's part. If there's no growth, we don't get any money. If there's growth, we get that. So we did not go from per capita to ad valorem. I know the chair and I sat in with the mayors and everything, and everybody agreed to be able to do that. So none of the municipalities lost any money because of any kind of change in our tax structure. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Do you have anything you would like to add, Commissioner?
I learned something from the folks that were talking about the Board of Elections, and I didn't realize that there was so much more going on, and I agree with everything they said. As Commissioner Adams pointed out, there is funds in the budget to take care of those things, but I appreciated the education. And when it comes to when somebody talks about, well, you don't spend as much per voter or as much per capita or whatever as other counties, I've been working with that kind of a term for over 30 years, because I remember back when I was on the school board, we didn't spend as much in Cumberland County per student either, but we had a whole lot more students. And I would tell people that, yes, Dare County outspends us on a per student basis, but they only got about 8,000 students in the whole
And they got tourism.
system. Exactly. But still, you know, when you spread the money over a huge number of people, it is less, because it takes less. So that was to me, that was a misunderstood and a exaggerated statistic. But in any case, though, I did appreciate the thought that when we do come up on the presidential year, there is a lot we can do, hopefully, to increase voter turnout, and we definitely need to do that, even in the city election, which is coming up this year.
Commissioner Jones?
Can't hear.
You're muted. Try it. You're still muted.
We can't hear you. Dr. Counsel, do you have anything to say?
They're going to work on it, Commissioner.
Counsel, do you have anything to say? The chairwoman was asking.
I can't hear you. And I can't hear her.
Okay. Do you have anything to say?
Nothing, except this appeared to be a smooth run operation. And I appreciate that.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Jones, are you there?
It's got the music. Is that extra music?
We can't hear you.
She's not muted. There's something on her end.
Okay.
Is it because she has got her hand up to ask a question?
Commissioner Jones, if you call me on my phone, I'll put you on my speaker.
Manager Griffin. Commissioner Booth,
I'm there.
What
would you like to say? You have anything to add?
Just, I thank Glenn for bringing that up. That's the only thing I had to add was the myths and disinformation that some sources put out there just to stir the pot. And we've been holding off because of the dire consequences that people say are going to happen if we change to this. And I just have to keep remembering that we're not a part of the city, but the city is a part of us. So when Cumberland County increases their funding to provide services for all people in Cumberland County, it includes the city of Fayetteville and all the other municipalities.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Jones.
Well, just not to be redundant, I was just agreeing with Mr. Booth and also agreeing with Commissioner. And I think that's important that we realize that voting comes up in all elections, that if we can provide more funding, that would be great. However, I also commend the budgeting team as well as our new county manager in regards to what they've already done. And I also would like to say, I think it's a good move that we all need to support in regards to transportation for ADA and vehicles.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Manager Greer, you can hang up now.
Feedback.
Manager Greer, thank you. As chair of the board, I think that you have done a phenomenal job. Hands down, you, the team, the staff, everybody has come together and has done a phenomenal job. So kudos to you all. I know it was hard work and you got 7 people to deal with and 7 different personalities and 7 people who have different agendas, but the same agenda. Different agendas, but the same agenda. The same goal.
Same goal.
So thank you. And what we were able to do for Cumberland County Schools, don't take that for granted, $3.2 million increase. And so I think that's to be commended. Great job, speechless. Great job, great job. So at this time, no one has any other questions, Commissioner,
Did you want to say anything else?
Do you all want me to take you through the changes in the budget ordinance, or do you?
Yes.
And then I'll say what I need to say then.
Would you like to pass out the adjustments?
Yeah, let's pass out the adjustments. And as she's passing out the adjustments, Section 1 of the budget ordinance is the adoption of the fiscal year 2024 budget. Last Thursday, we had some amendments to the county manager's recommended budget. Those adjustments are being passed out. Some of the adjustments that were not in there was a Mid-Carolina government additional local match that we needed of $7,667. The total combined adjustments for the community funding was $169,096, and that was due to changes. Many of those reductions due to the nonprofits receiving funding for the ARP funding. Then we had the Medicaid gap funding increase of $439,165. Medicaid expansion, $269,609. Then we have ARP funding that was approved on 6/5 of $8,121,245. You have meaning total adjustments to the general fund budget of $8,668,590. The total amended general fund or adjusted general fund recommended budget is $381,892,927. We had an adjustment for the juvenile crime prevention fund of $323,154 to reconcile to the state allocation. And that amended budget would be $2,291,392. The emergency telephone system fund, we additionally had to adjust the budget to meet the state board allocation of $11,428. Total amended emergency telephone system fund budget of $679,315. And then the Northcrest Water and Sewer Fund, approved funds of $550,000. The amended budget of the Northcrest Water and Sewer Fund now being $1,317,983. The solid waste fund, we reduced the proposed rate from $130 to $93 per user fee. The budget stayed the same at $27,219,737. Total adjustments to the recommended budget being $8,884,008. And the new total for all funds recommended budget being $575,816,694. The adopted revenue is attached in attachment B. The adopted expenditures will be in attachment C. On section 2, the tax levies, as we previously mentioned, the tax rate stays the same at 79 cents per $100 of valuation. The special recreation tax does not increase. It stays at 5 cents per $100 of valuation. The solid waste disposal fee was reduced from $130 to $93 per household. The fire district tax remains the same at $15 per $100 of valuation, and the fee schedule changes are in the recommended budget. The current expense for schools stay the same at $87,526,532. Fayetteville Technical Community College current expense appropriation totaling $15,468,600. And then for personnel, the cost of living increase of a 4% interim step cost of living increase were implemented as July 1st. 2023, effective for pay period beginning July 2nd, 2023.
Yeah, that's interesting.
The Section 4 board compensation totals $245,590. Budget policies in Section 6, nothing has changed in this, but in item 5, we wanted to highlight the collection agreements and that the board is authorized to collect the taxes for the municipalities of the county. And that's the budget ordinance and the changes there, adjustments there too.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Manager, might I make some comments on this for me, the way to process this? Since these are, the attachment A is identified as adjustments to the recommended budget, you can accept those. The language starts off saying adjustments to the budget, amendments to the county manager's recommended budgets approved by the Board of Commissioners. If we can change the word amendments to adjustments, then if the board adopts the adjustments to the recommended budget, it will be cleaner, because right now, Commissioner Adams would not be able to work to vote. He'd have to recuse himself from voting on the budget due to his sitting on the board of Action Pathways, of which one of these Second Harvest Food Bank is a subsidiary. So I think that would be cleaner. You then have an amendment to put some of these things back in. Is that correct? Of which Commissioner Adams would not be able to vote on. But just so that there's no question about that, has every commissioner, looked at the commissioner's recommended budget and the outside agency request and reviewed that list of nonprofits to ascertain that they do not sit on the board of directors or have any employment relationship or financial relationship with any of those? All of you assert that to in the affirmative, so correct?
Commissioner Jones, do you sit on any of the boards that are in the?
Well, page 69 of the recommended budget.
She said no.
She said no.
Okay. Commissioner Council, is she still on?
Yes.
Do you sit on any of those other nonprofit boards that are listed on page 69 of the recommended budget, adjusted?
I've looked at it twice.
Okay, that sounds.
You do sit on Mid-Carolinas, don't you?
Yes, I do.
So Mid-Carolina is the very first one.
But Mid-Carolina is one of those that's an exception because it's created by the government.
But
That's okay. Okay, I understand.
But that's an exception.
That's an exception, okay. Commissioner Voos,
Yes,
do you sit on any of the boards of those listed on 16?
I don't have that in front of me right now. It went off and my computer went off with trying to get visual for this. I didn't see, the only other one I'm on is going on about 30 years with the Dispute Resolution Center.
That is not on the list.
Okay, then no, I
Well,
don't know anything else.
it actually is, well, no, that's the team with JCPC, so he's fine.
Okay, all right.
The only other nonprofit is County of Cumberland.
With that clarification,
Oh, yeah, my county.
if the word amendments to the county manager's budget in the ordinance is changed to adjustments to the county manager's recommended budget as approved, and that is what the board is approving tonight, then Commissioner Adams can vote for this budget. If you want to put back in anything that nonprofit because he can't vote on it, then one of you could make a motion to add that back in. It's only $12,750, and he would not be able to vote to add that back in. The reason we have to do it this way is because historically, the way we have done this, once this budget was approved, these contracts were done. I mean, they did not come back to the board for approval. That's what the issue we have. So that would be that one issue. I think that would be pretty simple. The other thing that I want to point out, the last thing on the budget ordinance number 5 as the manager referenced the collection agreements. This is a grant of the authority for the county to do it, and that's fine for the budget. However, these have to be interlocal agreements, and the agreements have to be entered into the minutes of both the municipality and the county. And I don't think we have gotten even Fayetteville or Spring Lakes to enter in for the board to approve it yet, because the agreement itself.
Stop. I was going to make a motion. I'm too confused now to even go with it. So
No,
I'll show you.
it's not a problem. It's not a problem. I just want to make sure that everybody understands that we need to get those things on the agenda on the 19th, if there's any that have not been approved by the Board of Commissioners.
Staff is contacting both Fayetteville and Spring Lake and is diligently working to get those in for the 19th.
That doesn't affect your vote on the budget at all. The language in the budget is fine for that issue.
Okay.
That's all. So what, in summary, what I've said is, if you adopt the adjusted budget recommended by the manager tonight, all commissioners can vote on it and to approve it. It will not include those things that he's taken off. If you want to put one of those back on, that'll have to be a budget, a motion for amendment.
Okay. Commissioner Keith?
thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to make a motion that we approve the amendments, the adjustments to the county manager's recommended budget.
Is there a second?
No, second.
Okay, it's been moved and properly second. All those in favor?
Commissioner Jones?
That's it.
She raised her hand.
She did.
She raised her hand.
We got an aye from Commissioner Booth also.
Yes.
And now you would do a motion to adopt the budget ordinance.
Yeah. Just the motion to adopt the budget.
Make a motion to adopt the Cumberland County budget
Ordinance.
ordinance.
Second motion.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor?
You can vote on that.
Aye.
Commissioner Council? Aye. Unanimous.
Thank you.
Now, does anyone want to make any amendments, motion to amend the budget ordinance to include back anything that was removed by the adjustments? And if that includes,
Second harvest.
second harvest, then Commissioner Adams would not be able to vote on that
Okay,
amendment.
that being said, I'd like to make an amendment to a motion on the community funding for Second Harvest Food Bank in the amount of $12,750.
And I have a conflict, so I will recuse myself to be able to do it.
It's my motion, Madam Chair.
Is there a second?
Second motion.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank
She
you.
raised her hand.
You have now adopted the budget.
Manager Greer.
I would just like to say thank you to the Board of County Commissioners, the executive team and staff, especially Deborah Shaw, the budget team, and I'd like for them to stand up. Gaffney Smith, Ashley Brewington, Kelly Altry, and Denise Urban. Sometimes I ran between their office every day and bugged them and asked them millions of questions, and they were real patient with me and got us through this budget. Again, I'd like to thank Finance, Vicki Evans, and Yvonne Mendez for their help and assistance, and the department directors. Everybody bought into the message and everything that I wanted to make sure that we had a fiscally prudent budget that funded all services, and at the end of the day, made sure that we didn't raise property taxes. So, thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you. Let me say this, and this has nothing to do with that, but the AR committee, I just want to say kudos to Commissioner Adams and Commissioner Keith for their diligence, and definitely Ty for what you guys have been doing, even being so mindful to be able to work on all of that and include as many people as you can, and then we have to focus on this, and you guys have just done great. It's been a heck of a year, but kudos.
Three managers later.
Madam Chair, I would just say that I had a conversation with Ms. Archery last week and told her she can't go back home. So she was packing up, and I don't know why she was packing up. So, but she is. I do want to thank you for coming back to be able to assist her. She's retired and came back and did that, and so thank you. I just want to personally thank you.
We all work purple to make her happy.
Huh?
We all work purple to make her happy.
See, I should have told me. Okay. Yeah, look there. Well, that means she has to stay so we can get our purple together. So you got to wait for us to get our purple together. All right.
Well, if there's nothing else,
Motion to adjourn, Madam Chair.
it's been moved and properly second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Meeting